Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa Task Force Bangon Marawi briefing. Today we have Assistant Secretary Toby Purisima. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Rocky. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, good morning. Joining us today for another edition of Task Force Bangon Marawi press briefing are DSWD Region 12 Director by Zorahayda Taha and AFP Spokesperson Brigadier General Bienvenido, Datuin. Here are the updates from your task force. The Department of Trade and Industry turned over 11 bongo trucks and 5 rice mills to the various cooperatives in the province of Lanao del Sur to help agricultural farmers from the conflict-affected communities. The beneficiaries of said bongo trucks and rice mills include the United Marawian Product Marketing Cooperative, Lumbaka Toros Marawi Livelihood Producer Cooperative, and Putad Multi-Sectoral Marketing Cooperative. For more details, please watch this short video.
Isang bongo drop-side trucks at 5 mobile rice mill ang Department of Trade and Industry bilang Subcommittee on Business and Livelihood ng Task Force Bangon Marawi sa pakikipagtulungan ng local government unit ng Marawi City at probinsya ng Lanao del Sur. Ang nasabing rice mill at bongo trucks ay ipinamahagi sa 12 aktibong kooperatiba ng mga pawang na IDPs sa Lanao del Sur. Ang nasabing okasyon ay dinaluhan ng DTI Assistant Secretary Abdul Gani M. Makatoman at TFBM Field Office Manager Asek Felix J. Castro Jr. Nagpadala rin ng representante ang LGU Marawi at Province of Lanao del Sur sa katauhan ni Sultan Kamid Gandamra at Attorney Faisal Kali. Ayon kay Makatoman, layunin ng DTI na maipagkaloob ang mga pangangailangan ng mga IDPs upang maipagpatuloy ang kanilang kabuhayan habang kasalukuyang tinutugunan ng gobyerno ang iba pang hinaing ng ating mga kababayang biktima ng Marawi Siege. Dagdag pa ni Makatoman, naway itong ipinamigay ng DTI ay makatulong sa kanilang pagbangon muli. Malaki naman ang pasasalamat ni Mamintal Aksaran Alauya ng Propaganda Farmers Producer Cooperative sa kanilang natanggap. Malaking tulong umano ito sa kanilang kabuhayan. Samantala, kasabay ng pamimigay ng rice mill at trucks, namahagi rin ang DTI ng 652 love boxes sa mga grade school at high school students ng MSU LNCAT na tinawag na My Dream in a Shoebox. Ang My Dream in a Shoebox ay may nilalaman ng mga school supplies. Ito ay isang outreach campaign ng IBPAP at Team Asia sa pakikipagtulungan ng DTI. Para sa bayan, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
On the transfer of IDPs from Iligan evacuation centers to Marawi City, through the collaborative efforts of the City Government of Marawi, the Department of Social Welfare and Development and Task Force Bangon Marawi, around 128 displaced families sheltered in 4 evacuation centers in Iligan City have been relocated to the Sari Manok evacuation site located in Barangay Poblacion, Marawi City, last 14 April 2018. DSWD will continue to provide relief goods in Marawi evacuation sites through the local government unit. On the Balik Probinsya program, DSWD continues to conduct the Balik Probinsya program for Marawi renters and sharers staying in evacuation centers. According to DSWD's baseline data, 424 families staying in 25 evacuation centers in northern Mindanao, Region 10, are renters or sharers. As of the latest report, 205 families have availed of the Balik Provincia program with a total travel assistance of 1,064,500 pesos. The Balik Provincia program includes 5,000 pesos worth of transportation assistance, 4 family food packs, a family kit, hygiene kit, kitchen kit, and sleeping kit. On strategic and crisis communications training for our information officers, to further facilitate a healthy information environment during the rehabilitation phase, more than 50 information officers or IOs from the member agencies of Task Force Bangon Marawi have undergone a strategic and crisis communications training last 16 to 17 April in Iligan City. Knowledge on civil military operations and preventing and countering violent extremism were also among the topics discussed. A refresher on writing, photography, and social media management were also given. This activity aims to capacitate the communications officers of the task force in delivering much needed information to the public, most especially affected communities. On strategic and crisis communications training for our barangay captains. Also recognizing the role of local government officials in fostering good communications between the grassroots and the task force, the PIA convened the barangay chairpersons and community leaders of Marawi City on April 18 in their city hall. The speakers and participants discussed the importance of communications in times of crisis and the collective responsibility in countering violent extremism. On ICRC's ceremonial turnover of generator sets for Marawi. The International Committee of the Red Cross turned over 2 generator sets to the Marawi City Water District on April 17 to ensure that the residents will have access to water when unexpected power outages occur. The generator sets will be placed in Barangay Bangon and Bubonga to support in the continued operations of the pumping stations. On TESDA livelihood trainings, for the Business and Livelihood Subcommittee, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, administers an 18 and 21-day training for Marawi residents, focusing on motorcycle engine wiring, servicing, and overhauling. The ongoing trainings started on 10 April and are just outside the Marawi City Hall. The training programs help create job opportunities for the participants, giving them a source of income. On consultations being conducted with our stakeholders, the task force is leading a conversation series with residents of the most affected area in Marawi City to foster informed and honest discussions between government and the people of Marawi on the rehabilitation of the 24 severely damaged barangays. For these consultations, the task force partners with the World Bank, International Alert, Community and Family Services International, the Philippine Council for Islam and Democracy, and the Philippine Institute for Environmental Planning. The results of the discussions will inform the finalization of the plans for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the most affected area. Key issues being discussed include timeline for the return of our IDPs, competing land claims, locations of proposed public infrastructure, specifications, and for certain structures, the need to construct or the need not to construct. In addition, the discussions are being used to identify and confirm areas in the most affected area with high cultural and religious value, including sacred sites. A total of 34 clans in 13 clusters are being consulted. These discussions are face-to-face with the task force and facilitated by a third independent party acceptable to both the task force and the clans. In parallel, focus group discussions are also taking place with key stakeholders, including women and youth, children, the private sector, the academe, the ulama, civil society organizations, people's organizations, barangay chairpersons from the most affected area, IDP leaders, health and education professionals from the private sector, and IDPs from evacuation centers and home-based IDPs in 6 locations. Overall, the stakeholders participating in the discussions expressed their appreciation for being informed and consulted on the proposed plans for the rehabilitation of the most affected area, which directly affects them and the larger community. The discussions allowed for sharing of correct information, discussing concerns of stakeholders, as well as potential solutions. The task force would like to thank all participants in the discussions for their feedback openness, and sharing of concerns. The most affected area residents were also reassured that the results of the consultations will be used to finalize the plans for the rehabilitation of the most affected area. The task force, in close collaboration with LGUs, will set up a system that will enable citizens to engage and provide regular feedback during the implementation of the rehabilitation of Marawi and surrounding areas. Lastly, on the status of negotiations with the Bagong Marawi Consortium. The Bangon Marawi Selection Committee and the Bagong Marawi Consortium are currently in the negotiations phase. Specifically, the Selection Committee, through its technical team, is in the process of reviewing and assessing in detail the proposed infrastructure to be constructed as part of the overall development plan submitted by the consortium. This process will ensure that the infrastructure to be constructed will be compliant with existing standards and set at prices in keeping with industry standards. We would like to emphasize that negotiations will only be completed upon the integration of the recommendations, comments, and suggestions arising from our parallel activity of consulting our stakeholders for this project, and which I mentioned earlier. By integrating the recommendations from the grassroots level, the task force ensures that the final development plan is responsive and in line with the desire, dreams, and aspirations of the people of Marawi City. That's all for my updates. I will now give the floor to Director by Zorahayda Taha of DSWD Region 12 for her updates.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. I am going to present status of services and interventions for the internally displaced persons of Marawi City. Status of displaced families as of today, we have now 48,444. And we have returned number of families, we have 28,726. The target before was 77,170. Okay. For our current displaced families inside evacuation centers, we have now total of 910 evacuation centers throughout Region 10 and the North del Sur. Number of families inside evac centers, we have now only 3,259. And then home-based, ito ang medyo bigger figures. We have a total of 45,185. So we have a total of 40,444. For the summary of services and interventions that we have extended, we have extended relief assistance with a total amount of 582,680,826. For Ramadan packs that was given last June of last year, we have a total of 43,336,188,000. This total of 48,922 packs. For our AIX, that's the financial assistance, we have extended the cost of 2,448,829. And then for our cash for work, this is a temporary employment given to the IDPs. We have total of 59,245 families extended cash for work with a cost of 118,490,000. For the livelihood assistance, of which we started only for our social preparation, and this is in partnership also with TESDA, who were all trained by the TESDA. We have number of 3,266 families only, with a cost of 20,330,000. These are our summary of interventions and services that we have also extended. This is covering Region 10 and Region 12 because we're working as one, the SWD. So for our Kambalingan sa Marawi, the Kambalingan is the IDPs from our evacuation centers in Iligan City who were returned to their barangays. So we have already number of families for the Kambalingan. We have already 49,341 families. And we have extended basic and support assistance in the form of food, non-food items, which was mentioned by Sir, the sleeping kits, the hygiene kits, the sleeping kits, and the family kits. And then we also have the financial assistance. This is in the form of 5,000 pesos. But last year of June, we have started, because that was Ramadan, we have started to pay some IDPs in the amount of 1,000. Some were given only 4,000. And now we are given the complete 5,000 financial assistance. And we have number of families for this. We have 43,876. Total amount extended, 179,374,000. For the transpo assistance, this covers those balik probinsya. We only have reached for now 215, and the total is 1,076,000. So we have total of cash for work for 49,341 families with the total cost of 101,792,000. So total cost extended is 1,266,113,046. Total number of families we already have served 75,566 families. Okay. For the status of our Kambalingan families, as I said, these are the families that we have returned. We have different batches scheduled in coordination with Task Force Bangon Marawi with the LGU. So we already have 9 clusters. Number of barangays, we already have 56 barangays. Total that return, we already have 39,845. And then return 32,862. We still have families who have not yet returned, total of 6,983, for the reason that is more of personnel, and some of them are still are doing still social preparation with their families. Some of them, the children, are enrolled already, and very few have already started a little business while in Iligan. For our mostly affected barangays, we have the 24 mostly affected barangays, of which as of now they're already happy because they were allowed already to do the Cambisita. That means to say they have schedules to visit all the respective houses in the most affected areas, or we called ground zero. And we also have started to release also some support, and we have targeted 338 as of now, and the total cost of assistance given is 4,360,318. We already have discussed this with the Task Force Bangon Marawi, because in the first target, we only have 9,000 IDPs from the ground zero, but for now, it reached to almost 27,000. And we are doing already the validation of these families. And we have already some job order staff in coordination with the local government of Marawi to do some validation of this, because we are distinguishing the homeowners of the MAAs and the house renters. But we are very optimistic that we will be able to respond to the needs of these families coming from the mostly affected families. So for our continuing steps, we still have to continue the provision of relief assistance in evacuation sites under the Kambalingan sa Marawi. We also have to sustain the management of operational evacuation centers. For now, we have tents located, we call them located at Sarimanok tents in Bubunga, Marawi. And we already have started putting them in place, And we also have started to give them cash for work for them to, do some little canal digging within their tents so that if ever it rains, their tents will not be affected by rains. And then, of course, we will also do the continuing service delivery for the displaced families from the most affected areas, the MAA. And also, we also have the implementation of the Pantawid Pamilya Filipino program under the waived conditionalities for calendar year 2018. In Marawi, we have a total of 12,000 4-piece, and we already have started the kumustahan within the department because some of them were scattered in the different municipalities. And it's ongoing, our validation, and find them where are these 4-piece because we wanted to bring them back all. And then we also will have the implementation of our Sustainable Livelihood Program. For now, we already have started our social preparation. We have assigned some staff, our regular provincial project development officers from the region, whom we temporarily assigned in Marawi to do the assessment, validation, and coming up with project proposals in coordination with the local government of Marawi, and of course in close coordination with the barangay officials, and of course the affected families. And then we are going also to institutionalize the convergence of cash for work implementation. When I say convergence, we have the LGU of Marawi, we have the DC, we have the DA, the TESTA, all other line agencies. So, in fact, last week they had a meeting, the convergence team, to come up with a plan. But we already have started it, but for a plan for 2018. And of course, we have also to continue to enhance grievance and our redress management because we have been receiving some grievances said na we have not yet returned, we have not received the fact, the access card, and so on, and we are addressing this. But of course, everything is subject for validation and assessment. So, marami pong salamat and thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you, Director Taha. We're also joined by DTI Undersecretary Zenaida Maglaya, who will now give the updates from the DTI.
Thank you very much to our friends in media. We would like to give an update on the livelihood component for Bangon Marawi, and we would like to report that after last year's over 1,000 of starter kits given, including sewing machines, cooking utensils, even for carpentry tools and carpentry tools. Right now, as of end of March, we were able to gather and to add to additional over 4,000 of assistance or provision of starter kits as well. Additional sewing machines of 500 sewing machines. We also have additional starter kits that includes sari-sari stores, carinderias, opening up of bakeries as well, and so that they can already go back to what they actually have been doing. And we also were able to provide loans in the amount of 6 million pesos for our soldiers as well, who were wounded, as well as those killed in the encounter in Marawi. So also this was provided through our P3 funds. This is the Pondo sa Pagbabago at Pag-Asenso. So this is actually the fund is a non-interest bearing fund for the first 3 months, just to allow them to be able to start or restart their business. After 3 months, then they will already start paying their loans. So it was like giving them a grace period, and we still are in the process of gathering more applicants for loans, because according to a lot of our of our IDPs, what they were really saying is they're not really just after grants, but they really just want that they be provided assistance to start, be given the capital, and that they will be able to also repay. The other thing that we are looking at is also providing tricycles to, there are I think about 6,000 in need of tricycles there. So we are now talking to the tricycle owners and drivers association, the TODA, to be able to find out how they can borrow money through groups or through their associations. They will also be in easy terms, and we hope that eventually we will also be looking at the possibility of coming up with e-trikes or green tricycles for Marawi eventually. But of course, the challenge there is the terrain. We have to first find out if the terrain in Marawi would really be suitable for e-trikes because of the hilly slopes in Marawi. But as it is now, it's the traditional tricycles that they would like to also ask for funding so far. The Department of Agriculture has continuously also been giving a lot of seedlings for vegetables, because as we have now markets that where they can sell, we have to make sure that they also have the produce, that they can really sell the vegetables, and they can also have, in fact, they're also giving some animals like goats for animal raising, so that they can also sell this in the markets. We're looking forward to more markets to be opened in specific areas in partnership with, of course, the DPWH, to find out exactly where they can be located or situated, and that hopefully funds will also be made available for this. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Undersecretary Maglaya. May I now call on AFP Spokesperson, Brigadier General Bienvenido Datuin.
Good morning. As head of the AFP coordinating team working with the Task Force Bangon Marawi, we are a member of 3 subcommittees. One is on reconstruction, which is headed by the Department of Public Works and Highway, and which is being manned, of course, by Joint Engineer Task Group Builder, that is practically the main effort right now in the clearing operations. We are also a member of the Peace and Order Subcommittee, which is headed by the Department of Interior and Local Government. Of course, the Joint Task Force now is actively involved right now, specifically the 103rd Brigade, and of course the Land Resource Management Subcommittee, headed by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, which is participated on as a member by the AFP Real Estate Office and of course the Army Real Estate Office, which is involved, of course, in the acquisition of a camp in Marawi, that will be manned, of course, by units there. And as an update in our Marawi rehabilitation, on the clearing of the most affected areas, as of this date, we have 75% of the 9 sectors cleared, or 7 out of the 9 sectors, 10% still ongoing, and 15% on hold, primarily for the reason the on hold is we consider the Sector 1D, because the unexploded ordnance and improvised explosive devices that are yet to be recovered are situated under collapsed structures, and which will need concrete breakers and crushes, which are needed and which are expected to be provided to us to expedite the work in the said on-hold sector, which is 1D. However, the Sector 7 out of 9 are already cleared, and only 1 is ongoing, which is the 10% ongoing work in one of the sectors, which is one in the outskirts. Again, still on the clearing of the most affected areas, the Philippine Army will be transporting the following additional equipment for the clearing and rehabilitation of Marawi City. We are expecting a tractor head with flatbed trailer, 5, truck excavator, 5, a diesel generator set, 250 kVA, a diesel generator set also of 25 kVA, 4 of which will be delivered, 15 kVA diesel generator set at 9, and dump trucks, 30 dump trucks will be included, scoop loader of 8, and a backhoe loader of 5. These will be delivered anytime now to help in the clearing operations in the said most affected areas. In addition, we have 2 backhoes with excavators that were already provided to Joint Task Group Builder, and 2 concrete breaker attachments are on the pipeline. This has definitely helped us expedite the work in the so-called most affected areas. On the status of recovered unexploded ordnance and improvised explosive devices in the area, as of 17 April, we have 1,187 unexploded ordnance recovered. On the IEDs, or improvised explosive devices, we have 323 recovered, and the general purpose munitions, 17. Other accomplishments by the Joint Engineer Task Group Builder includes completion and the clearing of more or less 20 kilometers primary and secondary roads within the most affected areas, 1 school and 3 places of worship. We also have participated in the completion of 50 units temporary shelters at Barangay Itoa, Marawi City, completed the ground development of more or less 1 hectare for temporary resettlement areas at Barangay Sagunsongan, supported the Housing Authority and HUDC in the construction of 570 units temporary shelters for the IDPs at Barangay Sagunsongan, and completed 60 units of temporary shelters or Bahay Pag-asa for the IDPs at Barangay Mipaga. And that is for Subcommittee on Reconstruction, of which we are a member. Another subcommittee, as I mentioned earlier, which we are a member, the Security, Peace, and Order. As mentioned earlier on the different IEDs and explosive devices that were recovered, we have remaining 53 bombs suspected to be located underground of the damaged collapsed structures. And 3 backhoes are currently being used, total of 3 backhoes, including the 2 that were recently added to clear debris on possible locations, and as mentioned earlier, on the recovered unexploded, the figures that were shown earlier. On the Cambisita program that we are having right now, as mentioned earlier, of course, also, we are now on the Sector 5 for the 3-day visit of the residents to visit and recover personal belongings that are still usable. So we have finished 4 groups, sectors 1 to sector 4, and now we are on the 5th group, which are ongoing, and then 6, 7, and 8, 9, which are expected to be finished by May 10 or a week, or May 10. That's all, sir.
Thank you very much. We're now open for questions.
MPC, any questions? Okay na? Ace Romero.
ASEC Toby, when do we expect to complete again the negotiations with the consortium?
Well, we expect to complete the negotiations by the end of this month or early May, because then we will begin the process for the Swiss challenge. We will publish the terms once the negotiations are completed. We will publish the terms of the challenge, and then other intended proponents may then challenge those terms, and we will determine the developer by the end of May.
The timeline you set a few weeks ago, are we still on track dun sa timeline?
On track pa naman tayo. We will be, our goal is to have the groundbreaking by early June. So we will complete the selection process for the developer by the end of May.
Okay, magkano uli yung proposal, ASEC?
As of last information, the initial proposal is around 17.2 billion. That is the proposal of the consortium now, the Bangon Marawi consortium. That is not yet final. Okay. We keep on repeating this. We're still in the negotiation phase. Yun po ang proposal nila, na itatayo nila ang most affected area sa halagang 17.2 billion pesos. This will be challenged by other prospective proponents during the Swiss challenge phase, and we will determine the final developer by end of May.
Thank you po.
Question? Laila Salaveria?
For ASEC Purisima, sir, Have you updated your plans on what to do with the structures in Marawi, particularly the Grand Mosque? Because there were earlier reports that a group of Maranaos are complaining of insensitivity on the part of the task force because the mosque will supposedly be among those flattened in the rehabilitation of the city.
Kasama yan sa consultations natin ngayon. Tulad ng nabanggit kanina, these past few weeks, these past few days, nagkakaroon ng consultations on the ground. Sabay-sabay itong mga consultations na to at meron tayong mga partners na binanggit ko kanina dahil gusto talaga natin malaman ang mga sentiments ng ating mga kapatid sa Marawi City dahil sila naman talaga ang natamaan nitong violent extremism na ito, no. Kaya kukunin natin yung inputs na yan, kukunin natin yan ang task force, no, para ma-finalize yung plano. Yung initial plan kasi ng consortium nung initial proponent, ang Bangon Marawi Consortium, pwede pa yung mabago. Yung 17.2 billion na binanggit ko kanina, pwede pa yung mabago kung meron pa tayong ipapadagdag dito sa consortium na ito, dito sa developer na ito. Dahil dito pa lang natin kukunin yung mga sentiments ng ating mga kapatid dyan, no? So in terms of what we will do with the actual structures, kung ano talaga yung ile-level off, kung ano talaga yung ipe-preserve as memorials perhaps, kasama naman yan sa specifications, there will be a final determination on that during the negotiation phase which we hope to complete by the end of this month.
So yung sa Grand Mosque, wala pang
Wala pang
talagang
final.
set na?
Wala pang final. So lahat ng plano, meron ng proposal, pero tinatapos pa natin ang konsultasyon para alam talaga natin ang sentimiento ng ating mga kapatid sa most affected area.
Sir, yung kasi earlier may complaints din about the plans to build a military camp in the city. Based on your consultations, sir, what has been the feedback of the people about?
Sa consultations na nakukuha natin at sa feedback na nakukuha natin mula sa ating mga kapatid, pabor sila sa building nito military camp dahil tandaan natin, kailangan rin naman natin ng security measures para sa most affected area. Dahil sa mga nangyari in the past, dahil sa dito nga sa insidente na ito na nagdulot nitong kasiraan ng most affected area, kailangan talaga natin ng security measures dito sa area. At na based sa ating feedback sa ating mga consultations, ang mga residente ng most affected area ay pabor dito sa kampo na ito.
Okay, question. Microphone, please. Please state your name.
Nords Maguindanao po from Salam Radio. Dun lang po sa first phase na rehabilitation, yung po sa debris management. Tanong ko lang po, saan po ilalagay yung mga debris?
Kasama rin yan sa discussions natin, no? Dahil itong debris management ay malaking bagay. Tandaan natin, hindi natin mako-construct ang most affected area hanggat hindi matapos itong debris clearing. At napakalaking area nitong most affected area, no? 250 hectares. So 24 barangays ang nasa sa loob niyan. So kasama yan sa diskusyon kung anong gagawin dito sa mga debris na makukuha from that area. Kung kaya pa itong gamitin ulit or recycle in whatever way, we will of course do that. Kasama yan sa mga discussions ng subcommittees.
May panawagan po kasi yung ilang mga environmentalists coming from Lanao area that the debris should not be dumped sa Lake Lanao because as the Lake Lanao is one of the ancient lake and it's a Class A lake. So pangalawang question lang po, because hindi po nakuha hindi nasali sa 2018 GAA, General Appropriations yung budget, saan po kukunin for the rehabilitation yung budget?
Merong portions ng rehabilitation plan na mapupondohan from the 2018 budget, no. Meron tayong 10 billion from sa GAA for this, no. At meron din at otorisado rin ang mga member agencies ng task force na gamitin ang kanilang mga pondo at ginagamit na actually ng mga ating mga departments ang kanilang mga sarili-sariling pondo upang punuin yung kakulangan do sa kailangan pang PPAs natin, no. Maski ang local government units ng Marawi, ng probinsya ng Lanao del Sur at ng regional government ng ARMM ay magpo-provide din sila ng funding sa kanilang mga line budgets para tumulong sa rehabilitation. Kaya gusto na rin natin tapusin ang konsultasyon at ang selection ng ating developer para malaman na rin natin ang final amount at maiprograma na rin natin ito sa future budgets.
So, ang paglilinaw lamang po, bale, it would be possible na manggagaling ito sa surpluses from the departments sa fund
Existing
nila?
budgets,
Existing
not
budgets.
not necessarily the surpluses, but kasi kung naipasok, kung may naiprograma rin ang mga departamento para makatulong dito sa rehabilitation at rebuilding ng Marawi, maaari nilang gamitin yon sa mga line budgets nila. At malamang para sa next year's budget, sa budget natin next year, may naiprograma na rin ng ating mga member agencies sa budget proposal nila this year for the 2019 GAA.
So, thank you po.
Okay, question? Okay, maraming salamat Assistant Secretary Toby Purisima, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Dadagdag ko lang po, no, kasi mahalaga ito. Last week lang kasi, no, meron natanggap ko, last week lang po meron kaming binigay na mga rice mills, mobile rice mills po. 5 po ito at 11 bongo side trucks. Yun pong mga side trucks na yun ay pwedeng gamitin para doon sa mobile rice mill at baka pwede rin ho sa clearing operations. Actually, ito po ay kasama sa ating mga livelihood na gustong ibigay sa kanila on to use this. At nagpapasalamat kami dahil last year sa pondo na naibigay, nagkaroon ho ng capital outlay. Hopefully po magkaroon din ng ganun para ho sa taong ngayon ay makadagdag ho tayo ng mga ganong klaseng mga equipments. So yun po, that's just one of added good news lang po na may mga dagdag ho tayo dahil hiningi ho talaga ng ating mga farmers, mga rice farmers na bigyan sila ng mobile rice mills dahil yung mga rice mills na ginagamit po nila noon ay talaga hong naapektuhan sa Marawi, doon ho mismo sa ground zero. Kaya ngayon, mobile rice mills po sila. Yun ang hiningi at yun po ang lumalapit ngayon sa mismong na kung nasaan po ang ating mga rice fields or plantations. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, maraming salamat Yusek Maglaya. Salamat din po kay Brigadier General Datuin, kay Director Taha, at syempre kay kay Assistant Secretary Toby Purisima. Salamat Malacañang Press Corps, back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television Network. Salamat, sir.